Hello and welcome to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. Next half hour, I'll look at what's new in Maple Grove, and also we'll take a look back at the most recent council meeting. Stay with us. Maple Grove City Report coming up next. And thanks again for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report. Joining us, Al Madsen, City Administrator. Al, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dave.
Writing the last couple notes here. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. We'll get to that council meeting in a few minutes, but here we are in mid-June as we tape this program. City kicking into full steam with summer activities. Give us a little idea of what's coming up.
Maple Grove Days, less than a month away. Starts on July 8th. And so it's really Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It ends Sunday.
Right.
Saturday and Sunday, there's the Main Street Art Show, which is always fun and always well attended. There'll be some of the same, features that they've had in the past. The bed races, which will be down Main Street.
Right.
And that's always fun watching that. It's fun watching the progress that's been made, because you look at some of the earlier beds that they were racing, and they've become more sophisticated.
Yeah, there's a little technology to bed racing here,
yes,
so it's kind of fun to see.
Yeah. And the car show. The car show will be back on Main Street, and there'll probably be more cars this year than in previous years, because the Silver Creek on Main senior housing project is going to be bringing in some additional classic cars as well, and they're going to have a barbecue cook-off, and so they've got a number of things planned. And then you got obviously the activities over at the community center for the kids and mom and pop, and the corn feed, and the business expo, and the truck show, which is outside of the Lifetime Fitness area, that vacant land there. So there's a lot of the same things, but there's a bunch of new stuff that's coming on too. And obviously the big kickoff is, I think it's either Wednesday night or Thursday night. We have the Splatter Sisters.
Okay.
And they are so good, and the kids just absolutely love that group.
And that's at Town Green?
Yes, that's at Town Green.
Very good.
And then Thursday is the Pure Botno Parade. So that's they've got that pretty well under control. My assumption is it'll be about the same length as last time, about 100 units. So I'll be helping narrate that with you, as we have in the past for many years. And so that's always fun. So.
And let's give people, if they're new to Maple Grove, or maybe have forgot since the last year, the parade route itself is along 89th Avenue.
Correct.
And you suggest to get out early, stake out your spot, right?
And they do. You can go out there the night before, and people have their blankets out, they'll have their chairs out. Yeah, people stake their spot early. And you and I both know that when you're looking down 89th and you see that mass of humanity that are there for a parade. So it's just a wonderful time, and hopefully the weather will be good. We have been very fortunate over the years. I don't think we've ever had a total rain out. We've had some very close calls where maybe it hasn't finished 100%. But I don't think we've had a case where it's been totally rained out. So.
Okay, so the parade along 89th, again, that's on the Thursday night. And if you're interested in more information about the parade or any of the activities, certainly go to the city site, or the mgco.org site is the group that's behind all of this. Friday, coronation night, correct?
Ambassadors,
and that is at the Maple Grove Junior High or Senior High?
Senior High, I believe. It's been at Senior High in the past.
I think that is correct.
I think it's still the Senior High, and that's the Maple Grove Ambassadors. In fact, I'll be giving them a tour of the Government Center and the Public Safety Facility on, I think it's July 6th. So they always enjoy that. And they probably enjoy the police side of it more so than the other boring stuff. But and then Saturday, a lot of activity Saturday, and then Saturday night is the fireworks. And that's always very, very nice. And so that fireworks is takes place behind the Government Center.
Right.
kind of like almost between the community center and the government center, behind that shopping center where Kohl's and Cub, and so that's another area to stake out early, because it does get to be a lot of people there to watch the fireworks.
Right,
and,
so in the town green area or some of those surrounding areas, good places to watch that. And
definitely.
plenty of parking around. You might have to walk a little bit, so be prepared for that to get to your spot to see the fireworks.
All right, and as far as Maple Grove Days, we do have the shuttle service again.
Good.
Where we'll have shuttle buses leaving our Arbor Lakes Transit Center, and delivering people around to various stopping points. And I think the buses leave, I keep thinking it's about every 20 minutes or something like that. So you can catch a bus, takes you to wherever spot you want to go. And
Excellent.
So that's nice too. Then you don't have to try to struggle to find a parking area in our so-called downtown area.
Right, exactly.
Just park at the transit station.
So while Al and I take our time and go to the parade and go to the car show and the art and some of the slower paced things, if you're interested in activities, I know there's a number of contests or events where you can get out there and get a little physical with different sports, or I believe there's running as well. So
there's running.
If that's
and then
your flavor.
Yeah, if that's your flavor. And then there's a medallion hunt, which starts on Wednesday. So that's always good as well. And that's a $500 cash prize.
Not a bad deal. So mgco.org to find out more about that big event, all the activities they have going on.
A lot of
and
things.
Believe me, if you look there at the event list, it's pages after pages.
It
so
is.
It's fun stuff.
It really is. And if anybody wants to volunteer, I mean, they're
Still
still
time?
looking. Oh,
Okay.
They're still looking for volunteers, because it takes hundreds of people to coordinate, a city celebration. And so MGCO does just an outstanding job, and I can't really say enough good things about Deb Syrie, the president. She is just truly amazing how she gets everything coordinated every year. And what'll happen is we'll finish, on July 12th, I think it is, Maple Grove Days 2015, and probably about a week later, they'll start working on 2016.
Yep.
So
time to review and time to look ahead at what you want to add maybe for the next year. And
Right.
Al, of course, is in charge of the weather, so Al will make sure
let's hope
sunny and 75 every day, right?
we can only hope.
Okay,
Yes,
let's hope so.
That would be great. Yes. Let's see, just a couple of other things here. We are planning on our Central Park dedication on August 20. And that is coming along very, very well, and so nice progress there. So we're happy with that, and the formal dedication will be August 20. So encourage anybody that would like to come over to that. I think that's going to be a very nice amenity in that entire area. Very large playground activities. There's walking trails in the wintertime, ice skating trail. I mean, there's just a lot of things. We've got a building in there for concessions, for wedding receptions, things like that. So it's coming along very, very well.
So will people be able to use some of the amenities before that August date, or are we waiting until that date to actually go out and play and use the building?
Well, August 1 is the date that the contractor says that they'll turn it over to the city.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean everything is going to be fine.
Sure.
There could be some delay. But if the playground activity or playground itself, if that's completed, people don't have to wait till August 20. So that's just the formal dedication.
Okay, but I was out there not too long ago, and it looks like a lot of the underground work is taking place. So you will see this very interesting path by the building, and I believe that's the skating area, which will be coming this winter. And other water features too, because there is a little bit of a water playground there.
There'll be a water playground, splash pad, or whatever you call it, with fountains. So I mean, it's going to really. I think there's going to be something in there for the kids and mom and pop as well. So.
And more phases to come, right? As time marches on, there are other amenities that were kind of on the wish list or the initial planning that might come.
Yeah, this is just phase 1. We're not certain when phase 2 will start, but you have this big long wish list when you start planning it, and then you start to realize, well, we better maybe trim it back a little bit and do it in phases just because of the cost.
Yeah,
so,
understandable.
So that's coming up, the dedication of it, August 20. The search has begun for city administrator. June 16 was the first day when word went out, let's say, to a variety of places. And the search for a new city administrator will run through July. And then the council will, start the process at that time of sorting through the applications and narrowing them down to however many individuals that they do want to interview.
Right.
So, and again, my last day will be October 30. And it's been a blast. It's been just tons of fun. So.
And the hope is that the new person is hired sometime later on in the summer, so there's a little time that you can share 30, 40 years of knowledge with them, correct?
It would be nice. The plan is to try to find somebody maybe the first part of September.
Okay.
Maybe the individual can come on board 2 or 3 weeks in advance of my leaving. So then we can have a nice smooth transition and gives them a time to to get acquainted with people and things and all that kind of stuff.
Makes sense. Sure.
So
Okay.
a lot of work though to be done between now and the end of October. You don't realize how much.
You mean you have some cleaning to do, Al? Is that what you're trying
you
to
don't
say?
realize how many things you accumulate. And,
Right.
And got to go through all the files just to see if there's junk in there that can be just thrown away,
Right.
or what's pertinent, what's not pertinent. So anyway, we have a vacant city council position. We have had 19 applications
Okay.
for that. Copies of the applications have been sent out to the 4 council members. They're looking through the applications. They'll narrow what we call the interview list down to probably 5 or 6.
Okay.
And how we'll determine as to who gets interviewed is that we'll take a look at the names that each individual picks for an interview and see how that compares, each list compares. So for example, if there's a name on there that 3 or 4 of the council members have the same name,
Right.
that's an interview. If it's a situation where only 1 out of the 4 members has that name on the
Right.
list, then there'll be no interview. If it's 2 and 2, because we've got 4-member council right now, I'll let that entirely up to the mayor.
Right.
If he wants to put that person's name on the list. But we're trying to have it maybe about 5 or 6 for an interview. The goal is to see about maybe bringing a new council member on at the July 20 meeting. My thought is it might not be until the first meeting in August.
Okay.
But we'll just see how the process goes. So.
Tell me about the number 19. Are you surprised by that? And what does that tell you as far as interest in what's going on in Maple Grove?
Well, I am surprised by the number, I guess. I know some of the candidates have run in previous elections.
Okay.
So automatically assumed that they would want to try it again.
Sure.
But I'm surprised by the number of 19. I had one individual that said it sounds like fun, and I said, well, it's not necessarily the right reason to wanting to be on the council.
Right.
But I'm surprised by the number of 19. Some of them have already said that they would just fill out that year and a half, and they're not interested in running for a regular 4-year term.
Right.
Now, their mind could change as they get into it, and they're enjoying, being on the council. But 19 was more than I thought. Yes. Yeah.
Well, there always, in the past, has seemed to be interest in Maple Grove city
Oh, yes.
government, even to the
Right.
general elections.
Right.
There'll always be a good list of candidates,
Right.
which is kind of the opposite from some cities I know in the metro area. They have had trouble getting
Yes.
2 candidates to run for one position to have
Right.
any type of competition.
Right.
So obviously,
Right.
Maple Grove residents seem to want to get involved and
They
be
do.
willing to step forward to
Right.
give back to the community.
Right, and that's something that the council will take a look at in the applications and the resumes, is that, have they been involved in the city previously, boards, commissions,
Right.
Whatever the case may be. And so they'll take a look at that. That's not the only criteria, but that's one of the criteria that they'll take a look at.
Right.
So,
All right.
Planning Commission, we have a vacancy. Actually, we have 3 vacancies on the Planning Commission, but we're only going to fill 1 of those to bring our Planning Commission member to 5. We had 12 applications for the Planning Commission.
Wow.
And so the process is the same with the Planning Commission, as that all the applications have been provided to the council. They're reviewing those, and then they'll work up their list of probably 5, and then we'll compare see how, the list of each 4 works out. So I don't anticipate a new planning commissioner coming on until, it's possible it might be the last planning commission meeting in July, possible.
Okay.
Otherwise, it might not be till the 2nd meeting in August. But
So a busy season for council members to review applications
well,
all
it
of a
really
sudden.
is. It really is, because you're reviewing 19 applications for the vacant council spot. You're reviewing 12 for the vacant planning commission spot, and then they're going to be reviewing a bunch of applications
Right.
for my spot.
Yep.
So it's going to be a busy time. We probably are going to be having a number of special meetings that will have to be set up.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's going to be busy. So
We'll keep people up to date on those special
I always
meetings
tell
and
them
the
that's
whole
what,
process.
I always tell them that's the way they get the big bucks.
That's
is
right,
they-
exactly.
You've got to work for it.
And you
So-
keep your calendar clear just in case they come up.
Yes, yep, right. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the farmer's market. Last Thursday was the first, I think this is our 11th or 12th year of the farmer's market. The weather was predicted to be terrible, and so that did keep a number of shoppers away. It also kept away about probably 15 or 16 vendors.
Okay.
What turns out to be is the weather was
Yeah.
not nasty, and we had about 1,400 or 1,500 people that still came out, even though the weather forecast was
Right.
predicted to not be good.
Sure.
So 14 or 1,500.
Fantastic.
So, we would have had easily 2,500, and not all the vendors are there. We have
Right.
probably. I'm thinking maybe 53 vendors, something like that, but you have some vendors that have come in a little bit later in the season
Yeah.
because of the product that
Right.
they're selling. So, but it's
a
just,
good start.
the farmer's market just been a wonderful, wonderful thing for the city. So, the city was notified by Standard & Poor's. We have reaffirmed our AAA bond rating, which is very good news for us, and it's very good news for our residents and businesses.
Right.
By having a strong financial credit rating like that. So we're very proud of that.
Congratulations to the city.
There's just a handful of cities in Minnesota that do have a AAA. I think there's about 8. So there's not a lot of cities that are able to achieve that. So we're very proud of that, very happy with that. I think that's about it as far as the highlights go. The council meeting was 14 minutes long,
Okay.
really a non-issue type meeting. We did, as I say, we accepted with regret the retirement letter of Terry Muller. Terry has been our assistant city engineer. He's been with us for over 32 years, very dedicated employee. He's an engineer that not much gets past him.
That's good.
He's very detailed, he's very thorough in what he does, has done just a great job for us for over 32 years, and he submitted his retirement letter effective at the end of July. So, getting tired of retirement parties.
Yes.
We've been having a number of those with a couple of police officers, and then my building director retired at the end of May, and so Frank Campbell in our engineering department, 30 years, he retired a couple weeks ago. So. But we're all kind of that same era, I guess.
Started at about the same time,
right,
sure.
Yeah, so anyway, we did award the sale of road reconstruction bonds, and that came in at an interest rate of about 2.3%, which was very attractive for us. We're very happy with that. We set a special city council meeting for June 30 at 7 p.m. It's to deal with our recommendation to revoke a rental license. Per code, the landlord does have the right to appeal that decision to the city council, and so that's what they'll be doing on June 30. So the council will listen to our side, listen to the landlord's side, and then make a decision either to affirm our position to revoke the rental license or not. So we'll see what comes out of that. We set a public hearing for a liquor license for Maple Tavern. That will be for July 20. And then we also set a public hearing for an off-sale liquor license for Total Wine. That also will be July 20. So we're going to have the July 20 agenda is going to be a busy one. Part of it's going to be is that we are not going to have a first meeting in July.
Right.
And so a lot of the things that we normally would have had at that first council meeting in July are now shifted to July 20. So
Right.
it's going to be a busy agenda. So it won't be a 14-minute meeting.
Just a little bit longer.
It'll be a little bit longer, yes.
You'll break that half-hour mark.
That's right, yes. We did also, at this last council meeting, we approved liquor license. We had a number of them that, our liquor license come due on June 30 of every year, and then obviously kick back in July 1st. And so we approved all the annual liquor license.
Okay.
That's for both on sale and off sale. That's for full liquor, and then that's also for 3-2 and wine. So we had a long list of approvals for liquor license renewal. So we really only had one discussion item, and that was, it's called the Lasco variance. It's a resident by the name of Lasco. Our code, as it relates to decks and improving a deck, is rather archaic. And so it's one of those code sections where you want to get to bring it more into the 21st century.
Right.
This is one of the things we just haven't gotten around to. Well, now this kind of spurred it. And so Mr. Lasco needed a variance. Technically, variances are very difficult to grant.
Right.
In this particular case here, his neighbors were more than happy to give their permission to it. And what he wants to do just makes common sense. But unfortunately, code for that particular stuff was written way back. And so it's just one of those sections that we just need to, let's update and get something that's more realistic. So council was very happy with Mr. Lasco, what he presented. Staff's recommendation was that we grant the variance, and then we move forward with making some changes in our code.
Okay.
So we're not faced with a situation like this again, because it is an outdated section of our code. So they did approve the variance.
Very good.
3-0. So it was a 14-minute meeting. It got over just very smoothly, and so everything went fine.
Okay, very good. Well, we've got about 6-7 minutes left in our half hour. Let's just give people an update, a few other things around town. You mentioned road construction and some of the bonding there for people that are out and about this year. Are there areas of roadways in the fine city of Maple Grove that we need to be a little careful on, or are seeing some construction at this time of the year or still to come this summer?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, some of it's within, but 494, the widening of 494, that actually is going very well, surprisingly smooth.
Good.
I think that I think when MnDOT was presenting their proposal as to what they wanted to do, we're all in fear because, oh my gosh, this is just going to be a disaster. And I met with Jane McCrossan, and the McCrossan Company is the contractor that's doing that. And McCrossan themselves are very surprised as to how smoothly things are going. There's been a few, little bottlenecks.
Right.
But the drivers have been very respectful.
Good.
So that one's moving very well. 610 is progressing along very
Right.
well. So we just got to make sure that continues to move along.
And the main area of work right now, well, there's a couple main areas, right? They're obviously working, if people drive down 94 going up towards St. Cloud or Rogers, they can see
Right.
what looks like some bridges coming
Right,
into play,
right.
and those are
Correct.
really the flyovers, if you will, for
That's
people
correct.
to get on and off.
Absolutely right.
So that's
Flyovers,
one
yes.
area of construction. Otherwise, is it the complete opposite end that most of the work's happening?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So it's moving along nicely. I ask residents and non-residents just to be careful when you're driving in the city, because we do have street reconstruction that's going on in various parts of the city. And, some of that can be a little bit inconvenient, for the homeowner, especially when it comes to mailbox locations, because we have to locate all the mailboxes in one central spot. So it's not as if you can walk out of your house and walk across the street and get your mail. But typically that goes well.
Right.
And I think that personally, I think our street reconstruction program is so finely tuned that it does go exceptionally well. A little glitch now and then, but overall, but it's a major thing to, when you're disrupting lives of people and, you're ripping up streets. And in some cases, when you start to do street reconstruction, you may find a problem with a storm sewer or whatever the case. And so then that adds a little more time and a little more frustration. But other than that, the street reconstruction program does go very, very well.
Very good.
So.
And with it being June, we should look back at the legislative session and the fun that they had down at the Capitol. Just from a city's perspective, I know you keep an eye on it and talk to people on a regular basis about it. Any thoughts after it's over from the city end or from the council end of what it meant or might have meant for the city?
Well, we did not get anything that hurt us, put it that way.
Okay.
From our angle, things went fine. It just would have been nice had they not gone into special session. But overall, there wasn't anything that caused us real heartburn. So we're fortunate. There was some things that we thought that might get through that would benefit a lot of cities. That'll come back in the 2016 session. Some of it has to do with sales tax, on city purchases and things like that. But overall, I think most metro cities came out of it not too overly harmed.
Okay.
So it's the old saying, you just never know what's going to happen when the legislature's in session. So
I like how you phrase it. It's not all the time what you've gained from it, but what you haven't lost from it sometimes is the perspective.
Isn't that,
take.
I know that's frustrating to have to say something like that, but you're right, yeah. So, but I'm not aware of anything that really, hurt us. So.
And is this something then, as time marches on, you get some recaps from the local legislators that they'll visit the council chambers and give a little recap and maybe ask you, what are you thinking, what might be important things in the next session?
Absolutely right, yes.
Okay.
All three of our, legislators they'll give us a recap and then they'll say, okay, now what is on our plate for 2016? And we've got a couple of things they're not earth-shaking, but just what we think could certainly be a benefit to the city. But the fact that we didn't bring them forth in the 2015 session because they're not that urgent. Okay. But we'll probably bring them in the 2016.
Okay. So. Very good. All right, we'll keep you up to date as they visit the council chambers. We'll try to let you know a little bit about what they have to say. Al, thank you very much again for your time. Let's take a look at some upcoming meeting dates and also some information that might be helpful for you if you're going to head out to Maple Grove Days or want to do other things in the city. Next council meeting, as Al mentioned, is July 20th. No meeting in the first week of July because of the 4th of July holiday. 7:30 p.m. at the Government Center. You see the city's phone number at the bottom of the screen and the website at the top, maplegrovemn.gov, place to find out information about all that we talked about, and also you can get connected there to other information about Maple Grove Days. And if you have any questions or comments, you can call our viewer response line 533-1710, leave a message, and we'll try to answer your question here on an upcoming program. For Al Madsen, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.